Assalamu alaikum. Now we continue verse 14 as I promised my previous video. Verse 14 is basically, it goes on and continues by saying that قاتلوهم يعذبهم الله بأيديكم ويخزهم وينصركم عليهم ويشفي صدور قوم مؤمنين. It just encourages the Muslims that this is like I would say, the way and the philosophy of boosting the morale of fighters in any battle, and whether it's a modern warfare, especially now in modern warfare, they use this kind of methodology and philosophy to boost the morale of the army, of the fighters, especially those who believe in a cause, those who have been wronged by other party, other armies, those who have been violated, and so on and so forth. So the fighters need to be, and the fighters' morale need to be boosted. And how do you boost those morals? This is a wonderful kind of guideline and a methodology to boost the morale of the fighters who believe in a cause, who are basically conducting a warfare as a result of wrongdoing was done to their nation, to their people. So, in other words, it's a very legitimate war we're talking about. God is saying here, fight them. Allah will punish them at your hands. This is the most powerful morale boost to any army. When you tell them, you go provide the hands to fight, but the real fight, the real power behind your hands is not you, it's God the Almighty. It's quite powerful, wonderful, especially for those who believe in their cause, who believe in a legitimate cause that is absolutely defending themselves, defending their life, their integrity, defending their nations, their people, their morals, and what have you. So they believe in a cause. So if they believe in that cause, and they know that God is with them, God is the real power that gives them the boost and the energy on the battlefield. And God is assuring them when He is with them to fight with them, then they will be delivering punishment to the enemy with their hands, but with the power of God. There's nothing really more powerful than this. I'll leave it for you to imagine that. And not only that, God is saying to them, when I am with you in a good cause, that you will punish them and you will also humiliate your enemy. And God shall guarantee your victory. And He will help you against them and will heal the hearts of believing people. After this war ends, victory will be theirs if they really truly follow and they fight for their cause, not for their own personal gains of personal desires, but they have to truly fight for the true cause, that is to bring justice to their people who have been attacked in the first time or aggressed against by the enemies. Then their hearts will heal from anger and from anxieties. Then will heal and then God will heal the hearts of a believing people. So the end would be wonderful. Their hearts will be relieved because the anger should not stay in their hearts anymore. But when they conduct a legitimate warfare and they punish the aggressor, then this follows inevitably their hearts will be healed. That's from God's blessing. And it continues the verse 15, after their hearts is being healed, وَيُذْهِبْ غَيْظَ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَيَتُوبُ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. And He will remove the rage of their hearts. Allah relents towards whomever He wills. Allah is knowledgeable and wise. And it is very important here to note that the anger, when it remains in the hearts, it does really cause a lot of hardship to the individual. it will make them, they will not be able to think clearly, they will miss the mark in their livelihood, they will not be able to function properly with a positive attitude towards life. But God says He will remove that anger and rage from their hearts. Because trapping the rage in a heart, that means there will be consequences on that. And the consequences would be that the individual will cause mischief against their enemies, will cause injustice against the other side. And the situation of the oppressed will change into the oppressor. So the oppressed will become the oppressor should he or she keep the rage in their hearts. But God says, promise them, if you follow through and you fight for your cause sincerely, God will guarantee the removal of the rage from their hearts. And Allah will forgive their sins on whomever He wishes. And then the verse number 16, it goes very quickly. I'm just going to go quickly. I'm not going to go over it because it's very clear and is not within the scope of my purpose of my videos. I will go, probably I will jump maybe verse, I'd say maybe number 27, 28. 28 perhaps, they will be very close to our main topic, that is number 29. And in 28, I will just go very quickly, and then my next video will be on verse 29, which would be the final series of videos on Surah At-Tawbah. So number 28 clearly states, O you who believe, يا الذين آمنوا إنما المشركون نجس فلا يقربوا المسجد الحرام بعد عامهم هذا وإن خفتم عيلة فسوف يغنيكم الله من فضله إن شاء إن الله عليم حكيم. Here it says, addresses the believers, telling them, the associators are polluted. Now the Arabic word says najasun. Now this may have been exploited by the fundamentalists throughout history, unfortunately. They say that all the non-Muslims, because they say all non-Muslims are mushrik, because they don't believe in the Prophet of Islam, they don't believe in God, they just believe in some other than God. So that's why until today we see the result of this exploitation, that they don't allow any non-Muslims to go into Al-Masjid Al-Haram, into the Grand Mosque in Mecca. Unfortunately, this verse has been really misinterpreted for many, many years, and the verse doesn't say that at all. What it says in here, innama. Innama in Arabic, it's used for a specific. So it just creates a frame around the event, around the people involved. We call it in Arabic adat al-hasr. It's just to constrained. It's a constrained article. What is really being constrained here is the group, al-mushrikeen or al-mushrikun. Al-mushrikun, some of them. Who are they? The same people I said in my first videos, that there are a specific group of idol worshippers who have been actively involved in undermining the Prophet of Islam and his message, and aiding other groups against the Prophet of Islam. إنما المشركون. So al-mushrikuna here preceded by the article of al, the identity particle, al-mushrikuna, the al-mushrikun, the associators. So that right there we know there's a specific group of people, not all idol worshippers. Number one. Also preceded by, as I said, the article of constraint, innama. إنما it constrains specific group and event, or whatever the verse is talking about. So إنما talking about al-mushrikun, the idol worshippers, specific group. So what's being constrained is the group, not all of the idol worshippers, very specific. Who are they? The one I talked about in the first few videos, that they have been involved, the one who broke the pledges, the treaty, they aided other groups against the Muslims, they conspired against the Prophet of Islam, they drove the Prophet of Islam out of Mecca, and they did horrible things. And they began hostilities, that's most importantly. The Quran says to the Muslims, after this year, these group of people are banned from going to the Masjid al-Haram. And that's fair thing to say. This is one of their punishment. Part of their punishment is they should be banned. And even today, in the most civilized countries, when someone who commits a crime, let's say who is visiting, a tourist visiting other country, they will be banned for life from that country. It's a very normal practice. It's also very fair. If someone commits a crime in any land, and they happen to be not a citizen of that land where the crime is committed, then the country has the right, the authorities of that country where the crime was committed has the right to ban that individual. First, punish them, of course. They get their punishment. When they're when the punishment are served, then they'll be banned from going to that land again. So here, this group of al-mushrikeen or idol worshippers are being banned from the Masjid al-Haram for life. But when they die, their offspring have nothing to do with this. The generations to follow have absolutely nothing to do with this because they did not commit the crimes. They are not addressed in this particular verse. They're not part of إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ. They're not constrained in this. But really the group is constrained, those who committed the crime, not those who virtually by association. So we should not punish those by guilt of association, we call it in recent history. Why do we have to punish the generations to come after for the non-Muslims, so-called, are identified as being idol worshippers or they're not Muslims and so on? We ban them from going to a Masjid al-Haram. It's absolutely ridiculous, unacceptable, has no merits, and also it has no connection to the Quran. So I'd like you to ponder about this. And وإن خفتم عيلة فسوف يغنيكم الله من فضله إن شاء إن الله عليم حكيم. And that some Muslims may have some reservations and concerns about boycotting and banning these leaders of the idol worshippers from going to Masjid al-Haram for fear of loss of income, loss of business opportunities, because these leaders were very much providing and bringing a lot of business to Mecca merchants. And Allah is telling the Muslims, Allah will enrich you from His bounty if He wills. Allah is aware and wise. So Allah is aware of the losses they sustain from banning these people from going to the Masjid al-Haram. And Allah has promised the Muslims to provide for them, to substitute these losses if they were truly believers. That's another way by saying this is a test for you, or you believe, and then you should also try to do and pass the test and show your sincerity of faith. With this note, until next time, thank you.